there's a disastrous first gig where apparently there was a village hall with about 100 people in, and after 3 minutes there was 4 people left in there. And one of the women came up and said, "Please stop playing. We will pay you, but please stop playing. Everybody hates you." And that was their first ever gig.
Oh my God. Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another installment of the Audiophiles. It's Andy, it's John, and it's music. John, you will be sharing a tune with me that I'm going to go off and listen to, and we're going to come back and discuss it pretty thoroughly. At least that's the goal. But what have you got in store for us today?
So we have a turn from a band artist called PJ Harvey.
Okay. All right.
How familiar are you with PJ Harvey?
I can tell you, I know like 50-Foot Queenie. Is that the name of the one track where she's taking the piss out of male musicians or idiots? Yeah, that one really resonated. And Down by the Water, obviously, I think is at least over here, I think her biggest hit. And there's probably a couple other ones, but I couldn't name them for sure. So it's a pretty limited knowledge I have of Miss Harvey.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, this track we're going to listen to this track. I won't give away too much. Sorry, and I nearly did. Yeah, this track is called Dress.
Okay. Yeah. Don't think I'm familiar with the succinctly named Dress by her, but interested to go off and give it a listen. I really do respect her a lot and don't have any real good reasoning as why I've not exposed myself to more of her music. So
That's your chance.
yeah, there you go. All right, cool. Well, I will scurry off, give Dress a listen, and report my findings. Was that at the beginning? Loving this energy. I really am. From the few tracks of PJ Harvey that I'm familiar with, they're all good. So there's really no excuse for not having ventured into some of her other stuff or to seek it out. I'm glad John gave me this, and so far this is really good. I have to take some of this back. First of all, I don't know if that was the cello that I heard, just like kind of droning in the background there a little bit. Yeah, we're taking this back because it goes from that into that nice little guitar lick, and I enjoyed them both. Wow, yeah, I really, really like the energy. There are almost shades of like some real punk attitude to that song, and I wasn't expecting that, and I enjoyed it a lot. I really loved the tinkering with the strings there as well. It added this really interesting sound and kind of showed or displayed the sound of the strings in a different light than I think what most people are accustomed to. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, her just biting tone and energy. I just really, really enjoyed that a lot. It was a short song, but there was kind of this kind of visceral attitude to it that I really enjoyed. So yeah, interesting one. I don't know her discography well enough to know when this would have come out. But I bet John does. So let's get back to him and discuss PJ and this tune. This is a short little number. And
What, the dress?
yes, exactly. Yeah, I couldn't stop looking. No, the song, but I imagine, I don't know, dress probably was too. I know that it was red and sparkling. At least I think that's what I call it. But I digress. I think I got about 15 seconds into this thing before having to pull it back, which may be a new record. I don't know. It starts with this like consistent drum strike, but there are all these like unsettling but for some reason attractive string scratches and this friction caused by it. I don't know. It,
You can basically just stop you there. You can basically sum up the first half of her career in that phrase you just said.
oh
Unsettling but
yeah.
attractive.
Yeah, yes. Actually, yeah, that's really
That's
apropos.
it.
I didn't even think about it. But yeah, it's as if someone was raggedly dragging a bow across my my funny bone because I really enjoyed it. I don't know what it was, but I liked that sound. And then things kind of kick off with this insistent rhythm and her edgy voice singing with almost this punk tinge to it, about the difficulty of walking in this clean, sparkling red dress she's wearing, I assume, to capture the attention of some fella, or at least that's what I interpreted. Things shift to the chorus, which is pretty cut and dry in its simplicity, but it's fun and it's bouncy and it moves. And there are these interesting, again, string provided sounds in each one of the bending and in each one of these bending wails of those strings against the bow at the end are these like just a great callback to how the song started and what initially caught my attention about it to begin with. And around the 130 mark, we get this nice little guitar lick, and then she begins to sing in a higher octave that and there is, I guess at this point there's like more tension in this bit of the song. Not to say that it lacked it in its other parts, but it's picking up. And when we get more fervish string work adding to the rhythmic quality of the song, it adds this feeling of like culmination. And the drums are almost recorded or produced in kind of like an industrial style. They have a thunderous sound to them and almost a deep echoing sound that I've always kind of equated with sort of an industrial style of music. And this gives the song some added depth. But for me, the star of this tune is without question whatever that string section is. If it's I don't know if it's a one person show or if there's a couple of them going on there. But there's so much emotion and tension in the way those bows touch string. And I really, really loved that a lot. And there was a lot of fun, somewhat rebellious nature to this song, which that could also be a way to sum up PJ Harvey and her approach to songwriting too, I think. You can correct me if I'm wrong. You can also correct me if I'm wrong on some of the other allusions that I've made to kind of subgenres where you get a little bit of these industrial drums and you get like this punkish element to her attitude and her delivery. But again, 3 minutes 19, I think, done and dusted. But a great fun song, and one that made me like her that much more. So yeah, this was an interesting song. I wonder a little if there's not a double meaning or another meaning behind these lyrics that I didn't latch onto, having only given it just that one listen and only caught bits and pieces of those lyrics that I alluded to. But you can fill in those gaps for me, Mr. John.
Sure, sure. Okay, I'll go into that in a sec. PJ Harvey, there's a lot to her, a lot to her career, various bits. I'm just going to skirt around it a bit more because there will be more to come, whether you like it or not. And we can go into different bits and aspects of her career at that point. So we'll start from the top. Polly Jean Harvey, singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist. She's from Dorset, England, born in 1969. The genres that have been sort of
Can I ask you a question
slathered over her.
really
Yeah.
quickly? Is Dorset in the southwest of England?
Yeah.
Okay. The way you
If you
pronounced
pitch,
Dorset was very rhotic, and you didn't like, you know, there was you hung on that R when you said Dorset, and the only place I know that really does that a lot is sort of that area of England. So okay,
there's some rural outskirts of England from the middle and down, which are sort of accent adjacent. You've got Norfolk,
yeah,
and then you've got sort of below Bristol, Somerset, and then
yeah,
you've got Dorset, and it's all pirate adjacent, you know.
yes. Very piratey.
Yeah. So yeah, genres that she's been, attached to: alt rock, grunge, almost art rock, indie, folk rock, and avant rock, amongst other stuff. So she started in 1988 with a local band called Automatic Delarmini, and she was a backing vocalist, guitarist, and saxophonist.
Oh,
The band's frontman, John Parrish, became her long-term collaborator and writing partner. And so much so they've done duet albums together as well as side projects. And his wife or longtime partner ended up becoming the photographer that shot most of PJ Harvey's stuff through her career as well. So yeah. Anyway, from that band in 1991, she formed an eponymous trio called PJ Harvey, PJ Harvey Trio, whatever you want to call them, and subsequently began her career rather than Polly Jean as PJ Harvey. So the trio really after there's a disastrous first gig where apparently they were the village hall with about 100 people in, and after 3 minutes there was 4 people left in there. And one of the women came up and said, "Please stop playing. We will pay you, but please stop playing. Everybody hates you." And that was their first ever gig.
Oh my God. Yeah,
Yeah.
hats off to her for persevering through
I
that. 'Cause
know.
it'd be enough to send people with like, fuck it, I'm swearing off like music in general if this is the reception I'm gonna get.
Which you
Christ.
did credit John Parrish and sort of touring with that band of sort of learning how to be a front person and stage presence and gigging and all that. She learned a lot from him in that way. Anyway, the trio relocated to London in June '91. She was actually applying to go off and do sculpture at university because she was still not sure about her progress in the music arena. At this time, the group did some demos, which they sent off to record labels. And independent record label Too Pure, who are coming up quite a bit recently in various episodes, they agreed to release their debut single, which was called Dress. So what you heard was their first ever single,
Oh wow.
October
Okay.
'91. So that's their starting point. It only gets better. So then they signed to PJ Harvey. Dress received mass critical acclaim upon its release. It was single of the week in Melody Maker by guest reviewer Mr. John Peel, who admired the way, in quotes, Polly Jean seems crushed by the weight of her own songs and arrangements, as if the air is literally being sucked out of them. A week after its release, the band recorded a live radio session for John Peel on Radio 1.
Of course.
So, PJ Harvey Trio at this point is now, you ready for the first bit? PJ Harvey, vocals, guitar, and violin. It was her doing the violin and that.
Wow. So she's already ticking so many boxes for me because she's got a great voice, but then to say sax and violin.
Yeah.
Got me.
Well, yeah. Steve Vaughan bass and Rob Ellis drums, vocals on Medium. So the first album, Dry, followed in '92 to overwhelming international critical acclaim. It's quite amazing, really, that word of this album from this small little band and this small little label reached shores across the world. Enemy wrote the album was a collection of clever, repetitive, low-slung guitar poems, and Polly dredges these sounds from the pit of her dissected soul and drags them out of her mouth with clenched fists. Chicago Tribune referred to Dry as jagged, lacerating, and sexy in a disorienting sort of way. Los Angeles Times said that it falls somewhere in between an instant classic and a seductive calling card that signals the arrival of an extraordinary new artist. AllMusic summarized the album as a forceful collection of brutally emotional songs, highlighted by Harvey's deft lyricism and startling voice, as well as a trio's muscular sound. And even Pitchfork can get it right sometimes. They said, Dry is a volcano and the scorched earth surrounding it, ripped by landsliding guitars, cowpunk mania, twisted blues, profound extremes, and power chords that hit like boulders dropped from on high. Of course, I had to do it in a wanky way, but they said they liked it.
Yes. That's the Pitchfork way.
Yes. So Dry reached number 11 in the UK charts for a little indie. That's amazing. Ranked number 70 on Rolling Stone's list of 100 best debut albums of all time. And number 151 on Enemy's 500 greatest albums of all time. Dry is also included in the book, 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die. And when that is mentioned, I do like to dig out my copy.
Bust it out, yeah.
And there she is in all her glory. She gets a full double-page spread.
Nice.
And what I also like to do is see what's on the adjacent pages. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. She went out with Nick Cave for quite some time. But more on that in another episode. And then the other way, Suede's debut album and Mr. Weller, Wildwood, from which we know a song or two. Yeah. 92 was an amazing year. There's some, it's cute, Predator. Goddamn love that album. Far Side, Bizarre Fast. I'll keep going. Spiritualized, Sugar, Tom Waits, Sonic Youth. Oh, Stereo MCs. Yeah, it's not all good. But anyway, so that's an interesting little snippet. So Harvey said of her debut album, Drive was the first chance I ever had to make a record, and I thought it would be my last. So I put everything I had into it. It was a very extreme record. It was a great joy for me to be able to make it. I never thought I'd have that opportunity, so I felt like I had to get everything on it as well as I possibly could because it was probably my only chance. It felt very extreme for that reason. I think what makes it and her subsequent output so essential is this raw emotional openness of a female voice and female viewpoint that often becomes almost uncomfortable, but is backed with a strength which is at times awe-inspiring. And that's why, for me, she is the second most important British female artist ever after Kate Bush, I would say. And there's an argument, just preference. So just go into the lyrics of the song. I think it's, when you read it, it's fairly, but it's, again, it is a metaphor, but put on that dress, I'm going out dancing, starting off red, clean and sparkling, he'll see me. Music play, make it dreamy for dancing. Must be a way I can dress to please him. It's hard to walk in the dress, it's not easy. I'm swinging over like a heavy loaded fruit tree. If you put it on, if you put it on, if you put it on, if you put it on. Yeah. It's sad to see, lonely, all this lonely. Close my eyes, dreamy, dreamy music, make it be all right. Music play, make it good for romancing. Must be a way I can dress to please him. Swing and sway, everything will be all right. But it's feeling so damn tight tonight. If you put it on, if you put it on, if you put it on, if you put it on. And it goes into that bridge where she's singing, you purty thing, my man says, but I bought you beautiful dresses. You purty thing, my man says, but I bought you beautiful dresses. Filthy tight, the dress is filthy. I'm falling flat, my arms are empty. Clear the way, better get out of this room. A falling woman in a dancing costume. If you put it on, 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 if you put it on. Again,
Okay.
it's this great sort of, perspective of what a woman puts herself through and why the fuck, and, etc. The
Well,
dresses are femininity as well, and it's what,
the
and then
last
he
bit
bought,
is the dress that he bought her, which is this, for lack of a better term, kind of slutty attire, clingy, and all that. And then hers seems to be elegant and clean and pretty. And it's like this juxtaposition of what you think you look beautiful in and what is beautiful for you and what you think will attract men, or whatever you're after. And then the harsh truth of the expectation of a gross young man and what he wants to see in what he purchases her. Is that kind of the
I think it's the same dress. It's just how it's viewed from Julius,
okay.
and he
Okay.
thinks game on
Gotcha.
to the different messages, which is the same thing. Say, is interpreted as. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same thing with that whole fucking thing with women's shoes.
Yeah.
What? But anyway, don't get into that. So awesome debut single, amazing. This album actually is brilliant. It's kind of tinged with a bit of grunge adjacent to it, but it isn't quite
Yeah.
grunge. The drumming on this album is brutal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's fucking pinatas every day. It really is just
This is
smacking the
just a
shit out.
rhythmic
And
song in general. So if it's any indication as
yeah,
to what the rest of the album
there's
is.
another one which is just unbelievably amazing, the drumming, because it's all sort of syncopated and he's doing triplets all the time and all sorts
Oh,
of shit.
nice.
But he smells like he's doing it with a set of fucking spanners on somebody's head. It's
Right.
just brilliant. Again, you say that sort of almost industrial,
Mhm.
hollow. I know industrial is a word, probably abandoned warehouse rather than industrial.
Post-industrial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Oh dear.
Right.
Anyway, it's an awesome album. It really is, and she only gets better. She
Yeah.
really does. So the trio, as a trio, released a second album, Rid of Me, which is a couple of notches up in terms of the rawness as well in 93, and then they disbanded, and Polly continued as a solo artist, but she did retain relations with everyone she worked with, and they continued to work with her. And Rob Ellis has produced stuff, and worked with her on other things, so she's never burnt any bridges. She has so far released 10 studio albums, and she's the only artist to have won the Mercury Prize twice, for Stories from the City, Stories from the Sea in 2000, and Let England Shake in 2011. Rolling Stone named her 1992's Best New Artist and Best Singer-Songwriter, and 1995's Artist of the Year. It has also listed 3 of her albums, Rid of Me, To Bring You My Love, and Stories from the City, Stories from the Sea, in its list of their 500 greatest albums. So she's got 3 in there, which is pretty good. And in 2013, the birthday honours list, she was awarded an MBE for services to music. As I said before, more to come from Polly Jean.
I look forward to it. I do.
We might be on the start of another jazz odyssey.
That's fine by me.
Down the path. Cool, brilliant. Well, I'll wrap things up. Thanks for listening to this, Andy, and the introduction to the very start of PJ Harvey's career. And folks out there, tell us what you think. If we've got any fans of PJ Harvey, what do you think of this song, this extraordinary debut album? Drop some comments. We'd love to hear from you. Little factoids, notes scribbled and put inside a bottle. We don't care. Just send them along to us. Yeah, we really, really enjoy hearing from you guys. And if you haven't subscribed already, then please do. And good news, we're relaxing our dress policy, so you can now get in wearing trainers, which is a bonus. And we really do appreciate everybody who supports the channel, wherever they wear winkle pickers or brothel creepers. All is welcome. I'm not very keen on those see-through Dr. Martens though, because they look so sweaty. And, if you've got some of those, just revise your thinking. That being said, thanks again so much for watching, and we'll see all of you in the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.